My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and you're watching Chaotic Risk TV, which we've just launched this week. Of course, part of Chaotic Risk magazine. We've got with us today one of my longtime friends, Tom Collier, the guitarist and singer from Held Hostage. This is the album we're going to be talking about today. Great American Rock. How you doing today, Tom? How's the album going?
Oh, fantastic, man. We're just excited. We're getting ready to head to California. We're going to be in your neck of the woods next week.
Yeah, now tell us about that. You guys are playing the Metal Hall of Fame. Now, first of all, what do you have planned for that, and how did you get invited to take part in this?
Well, I had met Pat, the owner of the Metal Hall of Fame, had seen us live before Held Hostage. We became friends and was talking, and he came up and he said, we were about a month ago, he said, hey, I think this is time for Held Hostage to come out here and show the world what you guys got. And it's just a great opportunity. Our album, Great American Rock, it charted on the Billboard charts. 9 out of 12 of our songs went in the top 500. I mean, it's just been a great run. We say 18 weeks.
What's the highest that the album has charted? As far
the
as
album charted, the highest the album charted was 135.
Oh wow, that's quite a feat. I mean, people got to realize that it's not as easy to get on the Billboard chart. Especially Held Hostage isn't a mainstream band, like a Whitesnake or even a Deep Purple or something like that. So the fact that you guys are even on the top 200 Billboard, that's quite a feat. And not just one song. You said more, like, what was it, 5 songs?
3/4 of the album, 9 out of 12 songs charted in the top 500 on Billboard. I mean, it was unbelievable. We were just shocked. We sat on there for 18 weeks.
Wow. And Held Hostage too, I think, it's amazing, the debut album, Epic, I mean, the fact that you guys, I don't know what I want to say is outsold or doing better or as well, but to think that this album's even at the same level or that you've surpassed it, I think, it's kind of like Def Leppard, putting out Hysteria after Pyromania. Who would have thought they could have even topped that,
Yeah, we're excited. And what's happened with this album is that now all of a sudden the stations that was playing Great American Rock have went back into our catalog, and they're actually playing Epic on all the FM stations in New York and all around. We're getting all these messages that they're playing us. It's like they're playing the catalog.
In prep for interview the other day, you and I were chatting through Messenger, and I know that you guys were up for a number of Grammy categories, and you didn't make any of that. But again, as they say, to just be nominated for one, is quite an honor. But more than one, I mean, I think people.
We were in 5 categories. We were pretty excited about that. Album of the year and stuff. Not very often does a hard rock metal band win anything in the Grammys, So we're just happy to have been into the selection rounds and made it as far as we did. We didn't win a Grammy, but that's okay. Actually, we'll be seeing at the gala that we're playing, the dinner. Some of the Grammy people will be there. We're going to get to meet some of the people for the Grammys and stuff. It'll be a good experience, and who knows? I mean, we got a brand new album coming out here this fall, and I think it's better than the last one. I think it's better than Great American Rock.
Sure. And let me ask you now, in reference to the Grammys and that, because you're in a band that's been nominated, are you able to get on any of the committees now and vote for other bands and stuff?
Yes, we are. Actually, I'm a voting member now. I'm a voting member. Yeah.
And so have you already participated in doing your voting for this year?
Yes, I have.
Oh, yeah. Wow. What a way to kind of give back and see, that's the thing. The Grammys, let's talk about the Grammys history as far as recognizing hard rock and metal. I mean, going all the way back to, I think, 1986 or 87 when they had the first metal category where, if you can believe it, Jethro Tull beats out Metallica. Nothing against Jethro Tull, but I don't really think of it as a metal band,
Yeah, no. They're great band.
And then again, Held Hostage isn't a mainstream band yet. So the fact that, you guys receive that many nominations, somebody's listening and taking notice of Held Hostage.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. It was very exciting for us. There was no disappointment with anybody in the band. We're just ready to get the next album out there. We want to show the world what we can do. I mean, I think we're going to shock the world with the next one too.
I think that's what makes sense about somebody like an organization like the Metal Hall of Fame recognizing Held Hostage, even inviting you guys to perform, because a lot of the people being inducted, they're these veteran acts, and we can talk about that. Maybe eventually there will be a place for Held Hostage to receive an award down the line. And I think the Metal Hall of Fame is a great thing because, I mean, The only thing I can equivalent it to is previously they had the Golden Gods Awards. You know, that's in fact the very last thing Ronnie James Dio received before he passed away. And I think it's great they've had the Metal Hall of Fame the last couple of years, and they're really doing a great job of metal, recognizing metal.
Yeah, this is the 6th year of it, and I mean, we're just so honored to be asked to play it. I mean, Twisted Sister hasn't played together since 2016. They just announced they're playing live after we play. Twisted Sister is doing a live set there.
That's amazing. I mean, that might not be happening if it wasn't for the Metal Hall of Fame inductee.
Well, it wouldn't. No, Pat's done a great job, the owner of Metal Hall of Fame. I mean, the people that are there, I mean, it's like, I know that Wendy Dio is going to probably stop out to the Metal Hall of Fame. She's been invited. Kristen Pelletieri, what a great guitar player. That guy is phenomenal.
Oh,
one
wow.
of the best shredders ever. I mean, he's going to be there. Matter of fact, here's the thing that I just heard today. The Metal Hall of Fame reached out to me and asked me if I want to join the Metal All-Stars at the end of the night. And I said, absolutely.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
going to myself join the inductees, and we're going to rock. I'm going to go back up on stage after I'm done and play. So it's quite an honor to be asked to do that.
Yeah, now you mentioned Wendy Dio, and I love the way she's continuing to carry on, keeping Ronnie's memory alive, everything she does. And I know you're a fan of Dio. I was curious, have you had a chance to catch the Dio movie, Dreamers Never Die?
It's funny you said that. That's why I'm watching that tomorrow night. I haven't had a chance to, but I've been so crazy busy, getting ready.
The reason I asked that is the crazy thing about it is I'm a huge Dio fan, who isn't, and I would have gone out and seen it in the theater if I'd had the opportunity. Unfortunately, they only had it in the theater for 2 nights.
I know. Yep.
And I couldn't make it the 2 nights, of course.
Watch it on Showtime tomorrow night.
Yeah, I did. And so that's why I was asking. So I was going to say, great place to catch it. And what I love, the way they tell Ronnie's story in the movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but you're going to love it because I don't want to ruin it for you. But I'll just say there are parts of Ronnie's life that you might not be aware of, going all the way back to like Ronnie and the Prophets. And he's got short hair. You're not going to even recognize him. And he was like,
I seen him in Elf.
Player and all that. So it tells the whole story, and I love it.
Well, he grew up, 40 minutes from me, Cortland, New York.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I seen him when he played with Elf, and obviously we played with the Rods, and at one point Carl Kennedy drummed with us from the Rods. When I needed a drummer, he filled in. So I got my permanent drummer.
What was that like?
That was fun. That was great. We did some shows with the Rods, and then I needed a drummer, and Carl says, "Hey, I love your band." He said, "What?" He said, "You really need a drummer?" I said, "I'll come play." So Carl played some shows. Actually, Carl played in California with us last time we were out there with Metal Allegiance. Carl was our drummer.
Carl's one of those guys, super talented, not just as a drummer, but I mean, he goes back to the early '80s. He produced even Anthrax, early on in their career.
He produced our first single. Carl did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we've got a history. In fact, I talked to Carl the other night. Was talking to him about we can stay in touch.
Everybody knows him from the Rods, but he's put out a couple of great solo albums, and he's getting involved in these other projects. And he's one of those guys that if he's involved, it's all you have to know is he's involved, and I'm buying the album.
Yeah. No, Carl and I remain good friends. I just I love the raw sound that I create. That's why I went back to producing my own albums. I just thought I wanted to create something, my vision, and that's how come I produced Epic myself, and I produced Great American Rock. And I want that raw guitar sound. I record a little bit different than everybody else. I record live. The whole band we're running live to click tracks. We're all in the studio at the same time in different booths. We can see each other, but it's an idea I came up with, and it gives the album that energy feel. I don't know.
Everybody say that because I'm about probably the same age as you, and I remember growing up. That's how bands used to do it. They go to the studio. The band would be in the same room. And I don't know if it's just because I grew up from that time, but I can tell kind of when a band's in the same room versus everybody's in their own home studio and just kind of.
Yeah. The single we did with Carl, everybody did it individually, and it came out great. But I just was missing that raw power. I mean, I don't like a refined sound. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe the old Black Sabbath, AC/DC stuff. I just love having that raw sound. And I just had a different vision, and that's why I went ahead and produced them. And when we signed with our new record label, Fire Rock, they allowed the next albums I'm producing myself too. They said, you can stay on as your own producer. We'll bring in a producer. But right now, you've got a great recipe for success. So we don't want to mess with it.
Speaking of Black Sabbath, I know you're a Black Sabbath fan like me. I got this box set that came out like last year.
Oh, nice.
50. Can you believe this album has just turned 50 years old?
I can't believe it. We're getting old. When I talk to these people, it's like, holy cow. I mean, I was thinking back, Bon Scott when he was with AC/DC. I mean, I seen him in 1978. I was an AC/DC fan back in 76, 79. I seen him in 78 in Rochester, and he died the next year.
Yeah.
But it was like just lucky to see some of these musicians. I can't believe how old we are now.
I mean, Alice Cooper, one of my all-time favorites, he's still up there creating new music, rocking and rolling on stage, and almost 80 years old. He's in his mid-70s, and still I'd say better than ever.
Yeah, Alice he's well, the Rolling Stones too. I mean, you can't fault those guys.
Charlie Watts, did until he died.
These guys are still going. Well, I mean, I think Carl's 70. Carl Kennedy's going to be 70, I think, this month.
Yeah, and Jeff Beck, who just died. I mean, 78 years old. I knew he was, up there in age, but I had no idea 78. I mean, you look at the guy and he's like the fountain of youth.
Yeah, absolutely. And oh, geez, Savoy Brown just passed away.
Oh, wow.
What's his name? The guitar player. Oh, the phone. I can't believe I went blank. Kim Simmons.
Yeah, that's it. Kim Simmons. Yeah.
He lived 25 minutes from me. He lives in upstate New York. He was originally from Europe, but he moved to New York, upstate New York. He lived in Parrish. And he just passed away of colon cancer. It's too bad, but I got a chance to tour with him. So I've got a chance to, play with a lot of different these guys from the area too.
Yeah. That reminds me of, speaking of Kim Simmons, Roger Earl, the drummer from Foghat. He's the only original member of that band, and I don't know what it is, but I still just love Foghat to this day. I mean,
me too. Yeah. Yep.
You never go wrong.
There's been some incredible
music. Of course, never go wrong with Slow Ride, and that's the.
It's a classic. When it goes on the radio, just start pumping. It's when you speed up in your car. Fool for the City was another great tune by them.
Now, of course, Tim Ripper Owens. He's the featured singer on both the last two albums.
Yes.
And I talked with you that I don't know if you had a chance that he just put out his own solo EP.
Yes, I did actually. I've listened to it, and I took some notes on that. Yeah,
I thought it would be fun to have a discussion.
You asked me about that. I got to put my glasses on, but I took some notes on that and how much I liked it and what I thought. I rated the album in song-wise.
I'll let you go first. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my favorite song on there is Embattled, then Return to Death Row, and then The Night is a really cool tune. I don't know if you've listened to that one, but that's kind of that reminds me like a heavy Dio Sabbath one. I love the riff in that. I don't know, and then the Heroes There, Silent Cage, and then Die Within You. While you're available. Sorry. I can't do my own writing. But I listened to it again today, the whole thing over and over. And that's a great album. So what do you think?
I love it now, but here's the thing. I'm a Ripper fan. I'll buy anything this guy puts out. He's just so talented. It reminds me of a lot of it reminds me of Jugulator. I loved his first solo album, but this is very different, and the unique thing is typically I love to get a full-length album, but these 6 songs, I don't feel like I'm cheated or anything. I feel like he's delivered the goods, and this is as good as anything he's done, and I'm waiting for the full length. I mean,
I think he's going to follow up with a full album. I think he's going to finish that up and follow up with it.
Yeah.
Jamie Jasta from Hatebreed. Jamie actually produced him. Great.
Die While We're Alive. I really love that track. Just from top to bottom, it's a great album. And what's unique is this is kind of what you'd expect of Ripper. I mean, it kind of has that Jugulator sound from when he was in Priest. Full blown on metal. There's not like a power ballad or anything, although he's great at that too. I mean, I heard him do a great version on a Beatles tribute of, I think, Hey Jude, and just was beautiful. He's one of those guys who can do it all. And that's what's amazing. He's the featured vocalist on this Great American Rock. And it's like, you put these two albums together, it's like night and day. I mean, this is a little more radio, commercial friendly hard rock, which Held Hostage is known for. And he's great at it. I mean, he's one of those guys that kind of, he can do anything.
He can. And in this album, he had free reign on the vocals in this. The first album, I sang it, sent it to him when I wanted it. And I mean, he had his own thing. And then this album, he said, if I sing it, he said, I'd like to add some stuff to it. So he did keep it similar in a vein, but he really stepped it up. I mean, you take it. And I'll tell you the Suicide song on their Rise, what he does with that song, it's a mellow song, but he shows how melodic he is. He's one of the most melodic singers I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
He can scream, but he can sing. I mean, it's just incredible what this guy can do.
Yeah, in fact, like if you look at the two albums he did with Judas Priest, I mean, the two studio albums, Jugulator is more kind of full blown on metal, kind of I would compare it to this, his latest solo CD. But and then the second one they did, that had Demolition Man and all that.
Yeah.
I think, but Priest fans weren't as much into that album. I thought it was a good album, but because it wasn't so much of a full blown on metal album.
Yeah, I actually thought he helped revive Priest. Priest was heading down, and I think when they brought him in there, he injected new blood into him.
Anybody that can fill the shoes of Rob Halford for as long as he did, and otherwise, I don't know who they would have got. I mean,
no, and I thought he did great with Yngwie too.
Yeah.
I mean, Yngwie, he was great in Yngwie. I mean, I love Yngwie.
Yeah,
I love the guitar player. So, but yeah, Ripper's, and he's also just an all-around great guy. Just comes out, we have a blast together. We're not, it's not just we're friends, and I really like that about him, And they'll reach out to me, I'll text him or something like that, and I just say, hey, congratulations, Of course, I bought.
I'm almost willing to bet that if you ask him to do the next Held Hostage, he'll be on there.
You never know who's going to be on there.
Yeah, never know. In fact, let's talk about one of the other special guests you have on the album that I know you worked with before, Joe Lynn Turner.
Yes.
Talk about getting him and the song that he plays on.
So Joe was a big USO guy. Joe is a big military guy. I mean, he lives in Eastern Europe now, but he's from the United States. But he always did stuff for the American military. And so when he heard the song, he came right on board with it, And I told him what I was going to do. I mean, he just knocks it out of the park, showing me the way back home. We did one version of it. Then we came back and did the acoustic version that's on Great American Rock, where I played the acoustic guitar and I stripped the song down, brought it back to its roots where I wanted it to be, and Joe loved it. I mean, it was just a great version for him to do.
I mean, Joe Lynn Turner, I got to give the guy props because, I mean, super talented singer, but, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to his new solo album, but it's almost full blown on metal. I mean, Joe Lynn Turner, when you think of him, you typically think of, what he did with Rainbow, those type of songs, or more kind of radio-oriented, friendly rock. I mean, he went kind of the other way on this latest album. And then I also love the fact, I want to see what you think about, him recently coming out about his issue with his hair.
The alopecia, yep.
Yeah. Nobody had any idea for years that was a wig. And
oh, I knew it was when we went out when we were playing with him. You could tell. You could tell it was
general people, had no idea. And I think it's a cool thing that he came out. I mean, he must feel kind of like a relief. I don't know. Or
what was the image he had to keep? It was like Joe was always, when you've seen him when he sang with Rainbow and stuff like that. I mean, and Deep Purple. Joe was always in great shape. The hair was his signature, but his hair started falling out at like 30.
And the thing is, like with it is, I could see being, a famous rock god in that, and thinking I got to have this beautiful long hair. But you look at Rob Halford and how accepting, the metal god. Hey, metal Rob all the way,
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a different look for Joe Lynn, but I think it's working too.
I think it looks great. I was proud of him when he came. In fact, I sent him a text message. Said, "Man, I know it took a lot of courage to do that," and he just sent me the thumbs up back. I said, "Wow, very cool."
That's the way the metal community is. I mean, I remember before Rob Halford came out about being gay, there were kind of rumblings and whispers for years, but and he even got on record saying how surprised he was that the metal community accepted it so welcomely. And
I think once he was established and people realized, and it's the world's changed, nobody cares. I don't care what somebody doesn't do, as long as it doesn't affect me in any way. I don't care.
So, Tom, how far are you into the new record you guys are working on? Do you think it'll come out this year, maybe next year?
My goal, because I'm aggressive, I want it out by the fall. So I wrote the album. The album's all written, but yesterday I wrote another song. So this is what happened with Great American Rock. We started off, 8 of those songs weren't on Great American Rock. I wrote them before I got into the studio. I'd call the guys up, say, hey, listen to this. Like The Master was a song that was written,
it's a different type of music, but I've heard John Fogerty in interviews talk about when Creedence was starting out, that was his thing. I was always writing, and I never wanted to. I want to always be in the studio recording something new. Never, because I thought the minute I stopped writing, stopped having hits.
Well, the new album's going to be very diverse too. It's going to be there's a couple rock ballads on there,
Yeah.
but actually there's some heavier stuff, even heavier than the master that I've written, that I think some real heavy riffs that I think I would call it like taking Black Sabbath into the 22nd century. I mean, I love Tony Iommi. He's a king of riffs, but that's my thing too, is I love riffs. And I wrote this great riff on this new song. I just did it the other day. The song's completed, and I'm just going to finish up the words. And I tell you, I think people are going to shit their pants when they hear this. It starts off slow grinding, and then it just takes off, and it's the whole song is a riff.
And let me ask you, Todd, do you think the fact that that you're a singer and a guitar player in the principal song, do you think that makes you a better writer? Do you think now that Ripper's been doing the last 2 albums that you can just go in there and do the guitar parts, it's that much easier for you?
Yeah. So I've always done that though. So even like with the Epic album, I wrote it, played the guitar, sang, and I sang it in the studio at the same time. I recorded that, sang my vocal parts and the guitar parts at the same time, and everything was a one take. And I sent it off to Ripper. And we brought in a guy to help me on this one. There were some of the songs that I didn't want to sing, but I coached the guy to do it, but he didn't do it the way I wanted him to. But Ripper stepped in and Ripper took it over. I mean, Ripper just blew it away. I mean, he's such a professional to work with. I mean, like I said, you listen to his solo album, you listen to the Great American Rock, they're totally different. They're night and day.
And then, KK's Priest. I mean,
KK's Priest, yeah. Yep, they got a brand new album coming out, and I'm happy to see they're going to be doing some festivals and stuff, and hopefully touring, it looks like. So Ripper deserves that. If anybody
when does he get a break? But I mean, he loves what he does, so more power to him. And I love what he's done with the 3 Trimmers. Him and Sean Peck.
Yep, Sean Peck and them. It's a great thing. Yeah, the guy's the hardest working guy out there in music. When he sent me I worked with Joe Lynn Turner, great singer. Joe Lynn Turner sent me 5 vocal tracks for one song, and which Joe thought he overworked. Nothing against Joe, I love the guy, but he's a professional. Yeah. Every song, Ripper did this album 12 on both albums, 22 songs he did with me, and he sent me 12 to 14 tracks per song.
Oh, wow.
12 to 14. Nothing. He went back and sang it 12 to 14 times. He sent different everything. This is not copy and pasting. There were 14. I mean, I've saved all the raw tracks. You never know. Wow. But it's like, it was just amazing when I listened to him. I was like, listen to this guy. Yeah. It was like, well, check this. And so when I was mixing the tracks, I would send them back to him, say, hey, I'm going to add a little reverb here. What do you think about that? He'd be like, that's great. Or why don't you try this? And every time he sent me a song, he had little notes with it too. Here's what I really liked. What do you think about this? That's what music is about, to working with people like that.
Yeah, and your guitar playing is really cool too. I was curious, growing up, who were your guitar heroes that kind of influenced you?
Well, Tony Iommi.
Yeah,
Randy Rhoads is my Randy Rhoads is obviously Angus Young. I mean, I'm more of like the hard rock player, but I love those guys. I love the straight.
Randy's amazing because he's got the huge legacy that he does. And when you think about, he was in Quiet Riot early on, but he's really got just those 2 Ozzy albums. And to kind of have that legacy, die so tragically young, that shows you the level of the guy's musicianship, the talent.
Well, they inducted him last year into the Metal Hall of Fame, Randy.
Yeah, and I was just interviewing a guy the other day telling me too, he brought up Randy was such a huge, he said, Randy was such a huge influence on me that when I'm on stage, I'm only on stage right. I don't get on stage left because that was Randy's. But I'm like, wow.
Nice. Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
He's like he was one of my idols, and what he did was just incredible. I never knew the rivalry that him and Eddie Van Halen had out in California.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
They didn't like each other really, but it was like, but both of them were great players. And hey, you got to respect them both.
Talking about Van Halen, I heard for years. David Lee Roth was the one who was telling Ed, "Hey Ed, when you're up on stage, have your back kind of turned when you're doing your playing. Don't let everybody see the way you're playing."
Yeah, because of the double tapping and stuff like that. And he started off doing that originally. He would turn his back to the crowd originally, but what a phenomenal player, just a great musician. And as he evolved into keyboards, and I mean, the guy, it was just amazing what these guys have done. People like that.
I mean, it's amazing because I was interviewing sometime last year Derek Sherinian, who's great keyboard player in his own right, and played everything from Whitesnake to Alice Cooper and Kiss. But he was telling me, he says, I was a huge Van Halen fan, and he says, you know what? When they put out that 1984 album, I was like disappointed at first. I thought, man, where's the guitar? He says, and I'm a keyboard player.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm going to ask you, Tom, because again, you're the principal songwriter in the band. Do you think the fact that you can sing, play guitar, makes you a better writer, as opposed to if you were just
I think it does help. It does help. And I find myself, once I figure out the riff that I'm playing, usually what I do is I'll get something in my head, write the riff, and all of a sudden I'll start singing it while I'm playing it.
here's
Then I'll
the
run over and start writing down words and stuff. And like some of the songs, I write a song sometimes in less than 5 minutes.
here's a silly question, because you can do all three. You can write a song, you can sing it if you want it, and you can play the guitar. But did you think of yourself more of a songwriter than maybe a guitar player or singer? The reason I ask is you're such a good songwriter, and while you can do it all, I think that's what's made Held Hostage so successful, is the songs.
Well, I appreciate that. I consider myself a guitar player first,
Okay.
songwriter second,
Makes
and
sense.
singer third. You know, and my first instrument was drums. I mean, I can play drum. I love playing drums. I don't do it, but sometimes when I want to go over and work out, I go over to our rehearsal hall. I've always got a drum set in there, and I'll sit back and just rock on the drums. I love it.
People don't realize, but even I heard Steven Tyler from Aerosmith, Janie Lane from Warrant, they all started out as drummers.
Yep, that was my first instrument, was drums.
And what do you think was about the drums? Just loudness and noise?
I couldn't be as creative on them.
Yeah.
So, and I was like a guy full of energy. I'm always moving and stuff. So
Yeah.
the drums was good. In fact, my parents got me a drum set when I was younger, probably put me out in the garage just to get rid of me, because I was always, I was very athletic, always running, playing sports and stuff. I couldn't be as creative. And I just, one day, I think I was probably 20 years old, and I said, I'm going to play guitar. So I bought a guitar, and by the time I was 21, I started Held Hostage at 22, 23. Then we started playing. It took me about a year and a half to figure out the guitar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't read music. I can't read it.
Oh, you're in good company, because from what I understand, Eddie Van Halen can read a lick of music. But again, like I always tell people, look at what that guy did on the guitar. It's not all about being technically precise, and because sometimes people, get a little bee up their bonnet about, oh no, well that note isn't correct. You got to go back and do it. But it's more about the playing or the feel sometimes.
That's what I'm all about, is just the feel. And I think some of these guys become mechanical.
Yeah.
Almost, I mean, up and down.
Yeah.
It loses its feel. So I just get a great bend in there and then rip and come back, and sometimes I'll use the whammy bar, but really it's more about, I love to play with the feel of it,
Yeah. And so last question for today, Tom. When you guys are going to perform at the Metal Hall, any idea how long you're going to be? Is it one song, or any idea how long you're going to get to be up on stage?
About 20 minutes. About 20 minutes. So I put together quite a package of Held Hostage songs. We're running them together. We're gonna get it every note we can in our time. Matter of fact, there's not gonna be one word of talking. When whoever introduces, whether it's the Metal Hall or Eddie Trunk, whoever introduces, the second he says Held Hostage, bang, we're off and running. I mean, we're going to hit them with stuff from Epic, and we're going to start off with Great American Rock. I mean, I can tell you, I'm going to sing the opening song, and then I brought in a singer from Syracuse, Bill Ali, great singer, and he's never sang with us before, but I think people are going to love this guy too. He's like Ripper. The guy's got a hell of a range,
Well, Tom, as always, I love doing this the way we did it today. This is going to be a new thing, so we'll do it this way from now on, and so. I want to thank you for doing this, and great luck with the performance at the Metal Hall. And I want to invite you, maybe a month or so after you guys do that, I'd like to have you come back and talk about how it went.
Oh, absolutely. We'd love that. Love that, man. Really appreciate you always supporting the rock and roll community.
And you got your buddy Bramville to thank for that. He's really a great supporter of you guys, and we'll keep putting the word out about Held Hostage, because you guys deserve it, and that's what it is. It's great American rock. So Tom Collier, great luck with the performance at the Metal Hall of Fame. You take care, and tell the band we say hello.
Well, thanks a lot, brother. Thank you.
Bye-bye.